In 1993, I saw this dream. I saw myself walking with a group of prisoners inside a prison. And there's soldiers above us pointing gun towards us. The soldiers start to shoot and everybody starts to get killed. And I start to cry in the dream. And I woke up next to my wife in tears. And then 8 years later, when I'm in Bagram with soldiers above us pointing guns, I wrote back to my wife and said, the only dream I've ever related to you, this came true. This is Bagram.
Good evening, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Moazzam Begg. I am the Outreach Director for CAGE, an advocacy group that fights against policies of the war on terror. I'm a former prisoner of the United States held at Guantanamo without charge or trial for 3 years. And I'm very pleased to be speaking to you all here this evening. For me, my life's work since my return from Guantanamo has been about advocating for people in such places, people that you don't know about. So there were all these different groups of people, Libyans, Saudis, Europeans, and so forth, that I wanted to know their stories, and I wanted to know how many of these guys could I do something for. And so I found this organization. I began to engage with it and joined, and have never left since.
After years of applying for a passport, I now finally have one. I've decided to go back to Afghanistan.
Yeah, some people are nervous. My daughter was saying, "Oh, Baba, you sure you want to go?" For me, it's a very, very, very personal journey. It's a very it's something that I have had sleepless nights about since that time till now, and they haven't ended. And in fact, I often say that the experience for me of Guantanamo was not as profound as Bagram was. And not even as scarring. So Bagram's scars are very, very deep. Intensely deep. Okay. Like I say. So CAGE has been working on this case of Mohammed Rahim directly for at least 10 years, but indirectly on the Guantanamo cases since 2003, with all the prisoners who were held there without charge or trial. So here's this man, this Afghan, held in Guantanamo without charge or trial for coming up to 22 years. And that really underlines my connection to this whole story of CAGE, and also being connected directly to this story of Mohammed Rahim. So this is Wazir Akbar Khan in Kabul. For me to return here is going to be emotional. The intentions of this trip is to underline my experience with Afghanistan, for the whole story to come full circle.
and to see where the process that changed and impacted my life so dramatically actually began, to go back to that place.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Kabul International Airport. The Lieutenant here is 625. For your safety and comfort, please remain seated on the deck of this one to complete stop.
Kabul's changed beyond recognition. And the Taliban's back. And I don't think anybody could have imagined that.
الآن بدأ وزير الخارجية جيد.
نعم.
هذا الدوار تذكر هذا الدوار يأتي أمامنا هذا.
نعم نعم.
رجع الميموري.
So we came here yesterday.
Yeah.
But I drove past it and I didn't recognize it because it is so different. هذا ما كان موجود.
الدوار هذا جديد هذا.
نعم.
Coming back to Afghanistan has been so surreal. It's the same me, the same place, but just 20 odd years later.
आवाज़ें आ रही हैं लोगों की किस किस्म के लोग हैं यहाँ हाँ इधर सलाम
حياك الله حبيبي الحمد لله
काबुल में नहीं पहचान सका
हाँ काफी चेंज हो
सब कुछ चेंज हो गया तग़य्युर कथीर जदा
बाग्राम को भी नहीं पहचाना
हाँ मैंने जब मैंने देखा आपने
उधर इरादा तो है ना जाने का
और आप भी आएंगे हमारे साथ आपको तो आना है ना हमारे साथ
सुभान अल्लाह वो अभी तो वो जो पुराना जेल था वो अभी है
वो पूरा उसको देखना
जिसमें हम थे
हाँ
वो है लेकिन उसमें बहुत कबाड़ वगैरह रखे हैं
ठीक है कोई भी जो भी है अगर
उधर जाएंगे इंशाल्लाह उस जिस जगह में हम थे हम ढूंढ लेंगे इंशाल्लाह ये तो बहुत बड़ा जगह है बगराम
हाँ सो अमेरिकन मिलिट्री के साथ काफ़ी मैंने बात की है उनके लॉयर्स वगैरह कुछ उनके सियासत के लोग और ये मुझे उम्मीद है कि वो जितने भी लोग वो रहा कर सकते हैं वो करेंगे
नहीं हमें फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल यहाँ पर गवर्नमेंट के साथ भी ये बात शेयर करनी पड़ेगी कि इस तरह का अगर है तो हमारा वालिद साहब वाहिद अफगानी अवैध उनको भी चाहिए कि वो आ जाए क्योंकि अगर हारून रशीद आ गया है
मैं इंशाल्लाह मुल्की का वज़ीर दफ़ा के इसमें गुआंतानामो मुल्की दी वज़ीर दफ़ा के गुआंतानामो मुल्की दी वज़ीर दफ़ा के आगे सरबरा तो जागी जर जोड़ की रहता है ना और वज़ीर दाखिला कम गुआंतानामो मुल्की रिश्ता
इंशाअल्लाह बिइज़्निल्लाह जब वालिद साहब वापस आएंगे तो क्या कैसे लगेगा आपको अब कोई ख्याल किया आपने कि आपको फैमिली को कैसे लगेगा उनकी वजूद की यहाँ या अभी तक वो तस्वर से बाहर है ये आप यकीन करें कि वो निकल जाएंगे और ये जो आपने अपने दिल में रखे ना तअम्मुल कि वो निकलेंगे तो सोचें तो उसका तस्वर आपको करना चाहिए
أنت بيتك كان في هذا الشارع الآن تغير شوف هذا
هذا شارع
هذا شارع لكن تغيير
ممكن نخرج ونمشي شوية حتى.
جيد.
So I think this is the road I used to live on. I think. My last day in this house was when the bombing had begun. The cruise missiles landed on the hill behind. That's this way. We saw the cruise missiles that land, and the windows in my house, they cracked from the aftershock. And we got the kids of the neighbors and the women, and we hid in the basement, and we covered the windows with mattresses because we thought maybe then one of the strikes will hit here. And then within a day or two we were out. We left this place. I never cry. I've been filmed for 20 years about the worst abuses. I've never cried in front of a camera or in front of anyone. It's the first time. It's the first time. Everything has changed. Except the memory. The memories don't change.
Everybody in Afghanistan has a shocking story to tell. But on the rare occasion when we get good news, and good news is somebody's freed after 20 years, that's like a win. If Mohammed Rahim gets released, that's going to be a victory.
Hello, James.
Hello, Moazzam. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. Yeah, James, so thank you very much, first of all, for doing this. I know we've not spoken directly, but I know about your work, in particular in relation to Mohammed Rahim. Could you just tell me, when was the last time you saw him and how he's doing?
So I'm at Guantanamo Bay now, and I saw Rick yesterday. He was in high spirits. He's a man who really tries to overcome his circumstances and keep a positive outlook no matter what.
What does he expect, considering all the other Afghans have left Guantanamo?
Rahim has been held for over 15 years in Guantanamo without any charges at all, without any opportunity to defend himself or disprove any allegations against him. He still doesn't have any charges against him and no opportunity for a trial. Well, what he does have is an opportunity for a administrative board composed of members of the intelligence community who will assess whether they believe he's a danger to the United States. Of course, he knows that other people are being released. He knows that other people have been cleared. He does have hope. The team that we've been able to put together will be able to convince the members of the intelligence community what is obvious to anyone who knows Rahim, which is that he poses no danger to the United States. He's not an extremist in any way. He's not a radical. He's a 57-year-old man with severe health problems who deserves to go home.
Thank you very much indeed. I actually didn't know you were in Guantanamo, and you just kind of told me off the cuff. So that took me a little bit by surprise, but actually it was a good surprise because you are in the most appropriate place to talk about this subject.
Absolutely. And I know...
أنت تكلمت مع مسؤول بغرام ولا لا؟
انا كلمته مع مسؤول بغرام.
نعم.
قال تأتوا اليوم وغدا، قلت بعد غدا يعني.
خلاص.
امس كلمته.
فهو منتظر لنا.
هو
يعني
منتظر إن شاء الله.
طيب.
Now that I'm here, many doors have opened up. I believe fate, destiny has had a lot to do with it. It feels like this was meant to be.
السلام عليكم. وعليكم
السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
أهلا وسهلا. مرحبا بك. السلام عليكم.
عليكم السلام.
من ساعة 7 نحن هنا واقفين.
Farhad told me that when he visited a couple of years ago, he said for 2 days he couldn't do anything. He was incapacitated. I remember I broke down outside my old house, so I can't imagine what I'm going to do here. I can only just wait and see.
صدقني حتى الآن أنا ما أعرف لماذا جابوني هنا ولماذا أخذوني لغوانتنامو.
حتى لو سألتهم حتى هم ما يعرفون.
حتى هم ما يعرفون.
ما يعرفون.
قال لي واحد هناك مستنطق كان يسأل why you here؟ لماذا أنت هنا؟ أنا قلت أنا ما أعرف، أنت قل لماذا أنا هنا.
Oh my God. That's it. That's Bagram prison.
متأكد هذا؟
متأكد. شوف.
لأن في كان مبنى
كان هكذا في جنب هكذا عملوا من خشب ليمشوا حراس. وكان هنا غرف تحقيق فوق هذا.
أنت متأكد أخي؟
متأكد هذا هو. تعال. هذا جديد، هذا بناء جديد.
This is what we wanted to see. This is the actual Russian pack.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, this is the full pack. That's the MRE. That's the full Russian pack. I remember this one. Department of Defense. Yeah. يلا التواليت هناك صح؟
لا قريب تواليت كان سعد وانت كنت في امام سلك قريب سلك كنت تترجم مع دائما تتكلم مع العسكري. جيت هنا وعندما فتحوا عيوني انت قلت حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل، بعدين ما استطعت قلت كلام ممنوع. بعدين حكيت لي والله هكذا سمعت صوت النساء او اولاد وهكذا. اهلا. دشرانو دم لماستر دي باکستان د حالت نو ستګر خلاص کړي دلته ځدان لکه دغه او یو بل پاکستاني او صاحب مدني او دوی هغه دلته پروت هغه دغه سرسنګ دلته تشناب سرسنګ دغه سوريانو کې تشناب بیلونه باید خانه بسته.
قل له في زنزانة رقم أول رقم واحد جاب واحد دلاور تاكسي درايفر تاكسي 2003 هذا بعد سنة علقوه هكذا علقوه بالقفص وضعوا كيس على رأسي خلى هذا ظل هكذا 5 أيام ثم بعد ذلك لما فتحوا الباب بدأوا يضرب 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 إلى أن مات.
I can send messages back to former prisoners I know who were here with me and say I walked in this place again.
No.
And, you know, the people that did the torture and the abuse, they're no longer here. They're gone. It's just cobwebs. I think there's different ways in which this country can heal. Those who are in power have a far greater onus than anybody else to lead the way. They lead the way by showing and proving that there's no retribution, no vengeance. So now, quite fittingly, we're going to go and see the last Afghan prisoner who was released last year, and hearing from him will be a different perspective, because he's spent a huge amount of time in Guantanamo and can tell us what it's like to reintegrate into this society.
أنت آخر واحد من خرج من غوانتنامو. ما الذي تنصح إذا رجع محمد رحيم إلى أفغانستان؟ أي النصائح تعطيه؟
نحن كنا مرمين في حفرة ما كنا نستطيع متى وكيف نخرج. كان وضع يأس إلى آخر درجة. يبقى تجارب وآلام هذه الماضي إلى الأبد، ولكن نحن إذا استطعنا أو حاولنا أن نقلل من هذه الآلام إن شاء الله بفضل الله سبحانه وتعالى نستطيع نقلل من هذا. والله أنصح بما أنصح به نفسي، يعني يرجع إن شاء الله أفغانستان، ينضم إلى أسرته ويعيش معهم يعني، وهكذا الحياة إن شاء الله سيمشي للأمام وينسى الماضي. ماذا حصل لنا، لأنه خلاص هذا كان الماضي والتجارب أمامنا، ننظر للأمام وننسى الماضي.
أخي هارون جزاك الله خير، الله يبارك فيك، الله يكتب لك الأجر ويحفظك ويحفظ عائلتك إن شاء الله، وأن يخرج جميع الإخوة الأبرياء من غوانتنامو.
In the end, to live with anger and bitterness and hatred, it eats you up inside. And I can tell you that from personal experience. You have to be able to let go to go forward. The journey was a great success, but there's no success until you've achieved the actual thing that you set out for. That is the release, at least of the one prisoner that we've been focusing on. On a personal level, I think returning to this place has been, it's just a dream. But the Bagram part of it was a nightmare, so it's a nightmare and a dream come together. But I think the dream has overtaken the nightmare.